Hello everybody, welcome back to Stardew Valley with your homeboy Salty. Okay, now, I'm going to make this real quick, and I was thinking about trying to show you every place, like show a segment of video, but I realized because of the percentage of how hard it is to find most of these items, that it'd be virtually impossible to make a video of me showing every spot. But I actually took the time and wrote it down when I found them. Now, this video is literally going to be as quick as possible based on you completing the museum. Upon completing the museum, if all things go according to plan, you will have a star drop, which should be waiting for me right here because I haven't picked it up yet. Yep, see, star drop still sitting there. And so let me just go down the list. As you can see, everything is done. So let me go down the list basically, and just make it easier. Let me just go down here for artifacts. So let's start with the artifacts specifically. Now, the dwarf one, you can literally the first four is all in the mines. The first scroll you're gonna run into automatically just by killing a bunch of monsters in general, and it's the same thing for the last scroll. I have no idea why the other two you don't get it from just killing any monster. The first and the last, any monster, as long as you kill them, eventually they'll drop one. As for the second scroll, you only get them with the frost bats. That means you got to go pretty low in the cave. The frost bats is closer to, I think, level 60 if I remember right. When the caves start getting icy cold, you also can run into them with the dust sprites, which is also in that area. This one, you get them from killing the lava bats, which is literally at the bottom of the cave. I mean, that's literally at the bottom, where closer to, I think, a level 100. That's when you start running to the lava bats. So kill a bunch of them. You might also randomly run into it at somewhere between level 40 and down, but when you start breaking open some boxes and stuff, it might just give it to you. The chip and mortar, which is a ceramic pot, that's basically what it is. You get it from a diggable from inside town, and you know what the diggables are, the little worms that comes up out of nowhere, where I've been constantly going after it over and over again. You eventually, if you keep digging in town, when you see a worm, eventually this will pop up. The arrowhead, it's the same way. It's also a diggable only, where you have to wait until you find a worm in specific areas. In this particular case, it will be in the bus stop, mountain, and forest. That's why I constantly kept running into it. More specifically, in my case, I always ran into it in the mountains. Honestly, I ran into it like two other times at the bus stop and the forest, but it was mostly the mountains I kept running into it. This bad boy, the ancient doll, you can get this at the bus stop. You also can run into it in town, and the mountains, and the forest, also all diggables. You can actually run into it by fishing for the fishing treasure that you pick up when you go and fishing. You see the little treasure chest, you go after it and being greedy. You can run into it that way. In fact, personally, I think I ran into it most of the time from that, if anything else. The Elvis Jewelry is only found in the forest in terms of diggables, but you also can get it in the fishing treasure, but that's only part of the river section. And I only found, honestly, as you can see, I only found two of those bad boys. Literally in those two exact spots. I happened to caught one in the river, and then I happened to caught one in the forest when I was looking for something else in the forest. The chewing stick is only in the mountains, the forest, and also in town, like digging up those worms. You can also catch it in fishing. I think I ran into it mostly in the forest in my case, but I did some research and realized it's multiple spots. It's just in my case, I just kept running into the forest. This bad boy, the Oriental Fan, you can run into it at the beach, the forest, the town, and mostly fishing. I ran into it mostly fishing, honestly, but fishing in the river. This right here, the dinosaur egg, is the rarest of them all. You find this bad boy in the mines somewhere, in the mountains, also diggables, and fishing. I'm gonna tell you right now, when it comes to this bad boy, I suggest fishing for it. You have a better shot of finding it fishing than anything else. I suggest just fishing the river. Also use any kind of food item to increase your luck, so you can try to force a better shot of getting more treasure chests to come up. Just keep doing that over and over again, and you eventually find this dinosaur egg. Also, this is now in my case, I'm gonna tell you right now, please take this advice. Do not give Gunther the first dinosaur egg, because it's so freaking rare to find that egg. You keep that first egg to yourself until you get enough money to get a chicken coop. More specifically, the second stage chicken coop where you have the incubator. Take the time to get that, because you can hatch that egg. Hatch the egg. It will hatch eventually. It will turn into a baby dinosaur, and the baby dinosaur will lay another egg within a week after it gets old enough to lay eggs. It takes a week for it to lay an egg, but it will do it. Then you give the second egg to Gunther, and then you have that one for that. Because I gave the first one to Gunther, and it took me forever to find another egg when I realized I could have just hatched them and got me some good profit. So let's move on. The rare disc, also that's something you can find in the mines, and the mines only, for digging up the dirt in the mines. And also it's part of the fishing pool. So personally, I think it's just easier just to go fishing again and just go after it that way. Like I said, keep going after it. Use as much items as you can to keep your luck up high, and just so you can get as much treasure chests as possible and go after it that way. Then of course this bad boy, the ancient sword, also is part of the forest in mountain diggables, and also part of the fishing pool. I personally only ran into it mostly fishing than the actual forest and mountains, but to each his own. I'm telling you where they are. Again, like I said, since most of these things are going to be part of the fishing pool for the antiques, I should honestly suggest just focus on fishing and keep your luck up high with luck items, such as, I'm trying to think of stuff that goes with luck. Lucky lunch. Let's see what else. Oh yeah, but let's see the lucky lunch, spicy eel, fried eel. You know, all that stuff that represented. Just focus on fishing. And I suggest focus on fishing mostly in the river, because most of the fish are easier to catch in the river, to my opinion. And so it'd be easier to guarantee the treasure chest, because if you don't catch the fish, you don't get the treasure, even if you got the treasure chest. So it's a combination deal on that. The rusted spoon, also you get that bad boy from digging up the dirt in town, and the worms, and also is part of the fishing pool. But more specifically, that one is specifically for the river, which hence the reason why I'm saying you might well just stay focused on fishing. Because like I said, a lot of this is going to be part of the fishing pool, at least for the antiques. Then, of course, the rusted spur. As you can see, in my case, I only found 2. I'm trying to inference how rare some of these items are. You only get this through fishing. It is part, you can fish in the river, you can fish in the ocean, but you only get it through fishing. As you can see, if you look towards the bottom, when it's showing the highlight what the description is, I only found 2 of them. It's freaking hard to find this thing. The Rustic Cog, a well-preserved cog that, you know, is part of Drover's technology. I only found 5 of them. You can only find these bad boys somewhere in the mines when you're digging up their dirt. You also go through the mountains. You can catch it by fishing. Hence, that's why I'm trying to inference to you focus on fishing. Same with this bad boy, the chicken statue. This is actually a fishing exclusive item. You can only find it by fishing. More specifically, you can only find it by fishing in the river. So that's why I said specifically just go for the river. That way you can try to get a lot of these items in one shot and get it done. The ancient seed you can also catch digging up the dirt in the forest, the mountains, and you also go fishing in the river, you can run into it. On a side note for that, you can also get this a different way. If you feel like grinding it up, you can go through the mines and actually start killing a whole bunch of bugs at the beginning of the mines. You know, the flying bugs, the lava, the little worms, all that stuff. Kill them constantly. It's a very rare percentage chance they'll drop one, but they can drop it. So it's a good way to like get that done. And it will also help you with your long end game for making money, because the ancient plants, oh, it's just beautiful. Great money, just great money. The prehistoric tool, you can get that from the bus stop, which is just a little digging spot just in front of your house where the broken down bus is. You can also get it in the mountains, the forest, and also guess what? Fishing. That's right. That's right. Fishing. So let's move on. The dried starfish, you can get it by fishing, but ironically enough, not in the ocean, only in the river. And you can also get it by diggable. When you go to the beach itself, just dig up the little worms at the beach. Eventually you'll drop one also. I have no idea why you can only find it as a fishing thing in the river, not the ocean, since it is an ocean fish, but to which is all, I'm not going to question it. This bad boy, the anchor, you can also get it by fishing, but only in the ocean, which makes sense since an anchor, and also digging up the dirt on where the worms are at the beach. And that's pretty much it. There's nothing else to say about it. The glass shard, which is also a beach item, if I remember. Yeah. It's only a beach item, and it's also fishing only by the ocean. Basically, these two are essentially the same. The bone flute, which is only, you can find that bad boys in the mines, the mountains, the forest, the town, basically just about anywhere. This is like part of the universal pool of everywhere you can dig. But in terms of fishing, yes, you can find it fishing too, but only in the river. That's why I'm saying emphasis on fishing and fishing in the river, so you can get most of this done and out of the way. The hand axe right here, you can get going through the mountains, the forest, and the bus stop, digging, and that is a digging only item. You can't catch it in fishing, which is rare, but you know, that's how it works. This bad boy, the drover's helm, you can get it from the mines, and pretty much it. It's another way you can get it, but it also still involves the mines. You can also get it through the Omni Geos, which is the universal geo pool, which you have to spend $25 to get it broken open by Clint. But you have a pretty good percentage chance you can run into it through the Omni Geo if you have a whole stack of them. Hence the reason why I found so many in the first place. Almost all of that, except for 2, is from the Omni Geo. I actually found 2 of them in the mines naturally, and the rest of them was Omni Geos. The dwarf gadget is the same way. It is also found through the mines naturally, like breaking open boxes and stuff like that, and the Omni Geo. Is quite literally is part of that pool for the Omni Geo. Is a geo-specific item. And guess what? Yep, the drum is the same way. But you can also find this one also from the mines, like I said, breaking up boxes and stuff like that. But you also can dig it up from at bus stops and also in the forest and when in town. It is also part of the Omni Geo pool. So if you happen to have enough time digging through the mines and got enough Omni Geos stacked away, might well go for it, because some of these items are specific for the Omni Geo. And personally, I honestly think you should have a good stack of them in a way, because the next part after I finish explaining this part is another part of the museum. You gotta, this is just the first half, which is the artifacts. These 2 bad boys, the golden mask and the golden relic, is only found in the desert. And only found in the desert, going like digging up the worms in the desert. And you have to actually unlock the desert. Though unlock the desert, you're gonna have to eventually fix that bus. You have the broken up bus at the bus stop. You gotta fix it. Once you fix it, you have the desert unlocked, and then you can go digging in the desert. It costs $500 to go to the desert, so make sure you have money ready for it to go to the desert so you can go digging it up. The Strange Doll 1 and Strange Doll 2, as you can see, I only found one of each because they're extremely rare. And the reason why they're extremely rare is because they're part of every pool. You can find them no matter what pool it is. You can catch them in the river. You can catch them digging up no matter where you go. It's part of the universe. It's part of all the pools. Hence the reason why it's so rare, because it's so diluted in all the pools, you're almost never going to find them. Now, with that being said, to my opinion, how I got them, and I kind of geeked the system a little bit and enforced it, I kept on going back to the mines, the regular mines, and going to level 101. Is a patch of dirt where you can constantly keep hoeing it over and over again. And just for the sake of argument, you could reset that room over and over again, but I suggest not to. What you can do, now I don't know if this is a glitch on my part or you can just do it naturally, but what I did, I had my pickaxe, I used my hoe, dug up all the dirt, then used my pickaxe to cover the dirt back up, and then did it again. It allows to reset the digging pool, and you can get more items that way. I don't know if that was just a glitch or like a little technical glitch to go around the system instead of you going through the elevator and keep resetting that room, but that's how I did it. And it took me, technically, in terms of actual pure time going back and forth, I got me so much items and money doing it that way. Eventually, both of these dolls did eventually drop within the same day, and it took, honestly, if I remember right, about 2-3 hours of digging. So I mean, and that was just the ending part of when I finally found them and stopped. Outside of that, all the other stuff I kept on getting a bunch of lava geodes and a bunch of other items. I just resold all that stuff, and I made a quick amount of money, so it's worth investing doing it that way. This bad boy, the Prehistoric Scapula, which is, to my opinion, the hardest thing, because that was the last item for me. it took a long time finding this, because you could only find it in town, in a diggable spot in town, and also in the forest. It took forever. To put this in perspective, in terms of in-game time, I'm in winter. I literally found it yesterday in game time, basically Monday, the day 8 in winter. I found this on year 6. That's how long it took me to find this one item. So trust me, this is an investment. Going on after this stuff is an investment time. It took me 6 in-game years to find it, but I did find it. But like I said, it's only found in the town and forest, so keep going back and forth, digging into the forest, digging in the town. Every time you see a worm, go for it. You never know, you might luck out. Now, the tibia also the same problem. In fact, almost every last one of these bones, I might well just tell you off that every last one of these bones is pretty isolated areas, except for the tail. The tibia is only in the forest, also in the railway. So you gotta wait for the railway. You gotta wait for the railway to unlock. That's somewhere in the first year, so I wouldn't think too much about it. But yes, they only found it in the railway, and also in the forest. So eventually you run into it. I ran into at least 2 so far, and again, that was also part of year 5. This is year 6, and that was year 5. So let me inference to you how long it took to find it. This skull right here is only found in the mountains as a diggable, so yeah, it's very isolated. It's no other spot you can find it. You can only dig up the mountain area, and if you wonder what the mountain area, that's where Robin lives. If you know the carpenter, basically when you see Robin's house, that's all the mountain area. So if you see a digger in the area, just dig it up and cross your fingers and hope that Lady Luck is on your side, because that's the only time you're gonna find it. This bad boy, which also took me, I got this on year 5 also. This the skull, this nice little skeletal hand, you can only find it in the backwoods and the beach. I happen to found it in the backwoods, but that's the two spots you're gonna find it. And yes, this is only diggable spots. And if you wanted the backwoods, it's the little section just between your house and Robin's house. That little area where a little sketchy road and behind your house. That's the backwoods. It's very small, very isolated, and also very rare for a diggable to come up in that area in the first place. Hence the reason why this is so rare in the initial spot to actually get it. But yes, same thing with the Prehistoric Rib. The Prehistoric Rib is only found in town, which makes it even harder to find because it's so many items you can dig up in town that it makes the pool very diluted, making it very rare to find it. That's the reason I jumped for joy when I ran into it. If you're wondering, yes, it was also year 5. This bad boy, I got it on the first year. I ran into it while thinking about it. And this is the Vertebra. You can only find it in the bus stop. And I literally found out on the first year. I just saw a worm and I dug it up, and that's what came up. So it kind of worked out. This, as the reason why I got so many, which is 15 so far, is the skeleton tail. You can find it specifically for in the mines, hitting boxes, digging up the dirt. In the mines, you'll eventually find it that way. That's pretty isolated, but the reason why it's not is it's also part of the fishing treasure chest pool. So while you're going fishing in the river or the ocean for that matter, you eventually run into it. So it's not that rare because you have a better shot running into it in the fishing pool than actually in the mines. And that's the reason I got so many, because while I was fishing for everything else, I kind of just kept running into this, which made me a little more frustrated, but I let it slide because I eventually got all this stuff done. This bad boy, which is a fossil nautilus shell, I personally found it fishing. Again, you can get it as a diggable for on the beach, but it was also part of fishing. So again, that's why I said I emphasize so hardly on fishing. And also this particular fossil, the anebic fossil, is the same way. You can get it in fishing, but more specifically in the ocean. You're also going to eventually dig it up in the forest or mountains. Personally, I think I found it almost every time, except for 2 of them in fishing when I was fishing in the ocean. I almost ran into it all the time. That's the reason why I got 8 of them. But I did ran into 2 of them in both areas, one in the forest and then one in the mountains when I was looking for this darn thing. Alright, this bad boy, which is the palm fossil, yeah. I ran into this digging up the beach. You also can dig it up at the desert for the worms that are there, and you also can catch it in the forest. I think I caught one of them in the desert, one in the forest. I never caught one in the beach yet. It says that you can get in the beach, but that's where I caught it. This bad boy, I caught it from the beach. Yeah, I caught it digging up at the beach, and I can't think of any other place I found it. I think I always found it at the beach personally. And that's pretty much it for the artifacts. Now, like I said, that is literally the last half, the more difficult half of cleaning up that museum. The next part, obviously, is this: all the jewelry, all the emeralds and stuff like that. You eventually run into all this stuff sooner or later, going through the mines, digging it up. But if you were part of the late game, like I was before I actually took some serious note into the museum, the quickest way to honestly get all this stuff, except for the actual jewelries, emeralds, aquamarines, rubies, stuff like that. Although to be fair, you eventually run into this stuff naturally anyway. But everything else from here all the way from not here. All this over here is from the mines, except for this. This is from a really rare set. That's from the dangerous mines. But you can get this from the mines too. The fire cores, that's part of the lava section, the very bottom. You can get this at the earlier section at level somewhere between level 10 to 20, you can find that pretty easily. This is also from the frozen section. You can get that pretty easily. All this you eventually find in the mines if you want to, but the fastest way, to my personal opinion, when it comes to all this materials from down here, from starting from the Alamite all the way to the Star Shard, is the Omni Geo. Because the Omni Geo is a universal geo pool that pulls from every other geo. If you have a whole stack of them, like 300 of them, honestly, you guarantee to get every last one of these materials so you can give the Gunter in one shot, plus this prismatic shard, which is extremely rare. But you guarantee if you have roughly 300 Omni Geos, because I tested this out multiple times off camera, you can guarantee getting one prismatic shard for roughly every 300 Omni Geos. And now you probably want, like I said, this is an in-game strategy where you basically have a stack load of money and you have nothing else better to spend it on. Once you already unlock the desert and you have a stack of money sitting around, you can go to the desert store where Miss Sandy is on Wednesday. She sells Omni Geos for $1,000 a piece. Hence the reason why price-wise this don't seem very logical, because only why you're gonna get a 300 of these babble at $1,000 a piece. That's quite a lot of money. Plus, you still had to go to Clint to have them break it open. But in terms of the return, you guarantee every last one of these items. The fire quartz also included to that pool. I'm not sure about the earth crystal. I don't remember running into it, but you eventually can run into all this stuff except for the prismatic shard anyway. In the regular mines, you can run into the prismatic shard in the more dangerous mine, which is called the Skull Cavern. You eventually unlock that, and you can do that. You can find it that way. Personally, because the Skull Cavern is so dangerous and it's so freaking hard to run into this darn thing, generally, it was just better off financially, for my opinion, to just buy my way out of it, and I did. I spent, like I said, it's $1,000 a piece for each Omni Geo, and I got 300, and I pretty much cleaned out the whole inventory for Gunter's laboratory. So the only thing that was left for me was just patiently, and I mean patiently, digging for all this stuff. I might have to do some more research on the troglodyte, because all the stuff I did was I talked about on here was me finding it myself and just wrote it down, and then minor research about what else you can find it. But I'm pretty confident I only found this as I know for a fact it's a diggable, because I only found it as a diggable, and I'm pretty sure I only found it at the beach, but I'm pretty confident it has to be in some other spots, because all these other ones was also in other spots, or at least part of the fishing pool. So I'm assuming this is going to be in another spot or the fishing pool also. I just had to look it up to confirm it. If it's only at the beach, then I'm just going to let it ride and don't make another video of it. But that's pretty much it. That's all the other stuff. You can find all this, like I said, through the Omni Geos and go through the mines naturally. You eventually run into all these gemstones and also all these minerals. And then of course, I already told you about this at the beginning, where you can find them and dig them up. Now, with that being said, like I said, I'm on year 6. That's what I'm saying. It took 6 in-game years to find all these items, and so it's a game of patience. But my real suggestion to you is, since so much of the artifacts is part of the fishing pool, I really suggest really focus on fishing, and also, unless you really just want the money, focus when you start upgrading your abilities on especially when I'm filming fishing. I made the mistake and focus on money and then think about it, but focus on, once you get to level 10, on the level 1, once you get to level 5, you get your first upgrade, yeah, go for money. It's nothing wrong with money. But on the level 10 one, go for the pirate option, so you can double your treasure drop opportunities, so you can really reel in all this stuff much faster. Plus, really good money in general, because even though increasing the value of the fish seems good at first, long term, honestly, you have a better shot getting more items out of this treasure pool than anything else, and you get more money specifically from most of the treasure pools than the fish itself long term. Yes, you have to still catch the fish, but once you get to that point, you pretty much guarantee catching that fish anyway. It's only like a very select few of fish that's going to be difficult to catch in general once you get to that point. Well, now that's pretty much said and done, and I'm good. So let's get this last star fruit, and yes, and I mean last star fruit, because once I pick up this star fruit, that is going to be the last star fruit for me, and I'm done with that, which allows me to get another medal or trophy saying that I actually found all the star fruit. Because you get a star fruit from finishing the museum, and you get a star fruit from other avenues also. One from the fair, one from your wife or husband, depending on what direction you want to go with. One at the bottom of the regular mines, and of course, like I said here. And let me just eat this bad boy. The Mystery of the Star Drops achievement unlocked, because I finally finished it. You found a star drop. Your mind is filled with the thoughts of YouTube. Yes, the power of YouTube compelled me. Alright, so I am done. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm sorry that I couldn't make like a digging montage of me finding all those items, but like I said, it's extremely rare. Let me inference on this how rare it is. In terms of percentages for you digging up this for the actual diggables, the percentage you run into any item as a diggable is like 0.001. That's literally like 1,000% chance, like 1,000% chance of you running into a actual item when you dig it up. 9 times out of 10 when you start digging up something. And yeah, I got my hole out. Now, it ain't no diggables, but this is what you're most likely going to run into. Now, it's winter now, so... Oh, that's not diggable. Hold on. That's the stuff you're going to eventually run into. Over and over again. Clay. And mixed seeds. You're going to run into that more than anything else. Now, I have nothing against the clay. At least I could use that. The mixed seeds is just straight out trash, but that's what you're gonna run into mostly. So there we go, and that's pretty much it. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you want to see more, just come on back down to Salty, and I will try to make as much informational videos as possible on this game or any other game you happen to ask about if it was something I was playing earlier. So let me know if you want to know anything else about this game, and I'll take the time to make a video about it. Until then, I will see y'all later. Peace.